Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Monday, April 30th, 2018, and you're watching WGAN-TV live at 5. In our virtual studio audience, we have Josh Johnson. Hey, Josh.
Hi there.
Good to see you.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. So Josh, among many claims to fame as a professional photographer, happens to have nearly, help me out here, 700,000 followers on Instagram.
Almost 6.
Almost 6,000. I promoted you. So you have almost 6,000, soon to be 700,000 Instagram followers. So that's pretty crazy. That's probably a show in itself. But I asked, I know Josh from our co-working space at Atlanta Tech Village, and Josh was planning a trip to Europe. He had never used a 360 camera. And I said, hey, I got this Luna camera. I ordered it on Indiegogo 2.5 years ago, and it finally showed up. Would you like to play with it on your trip? So, Josh, do you have the camera? Maybe you have the box. What do you got there that you can show us?
I do.
Okay.
Show you through it. So the camera is kind of cool looking. What you've got here is a globe. I think probably they call it the Luna because it is kind of like a moon.
Yeah.
It's just round, and it's got these two lenses, one on each side. So right away, the one thing as a photographer that comes to my mind is I wonder a little bit about these plastic lenses sticking out. You would definitely want to put it in the soft case that's included before you put it in your bag, because I can see these getting scratched real quick.
Incidentally, I'd say that's about the size of an 8-ball.
That's exactly right. I wouldn't surprise me one bit if it's exactly the size of an 8-ball.
Yeah, and I know when I saw this, I mentioned at the top of the show, today is Monday, April 30th, 2018. I want to say I saw this camera 2.5 years ago, Indiegogo. I was one of the early buyers of it. I might even have paid $300, and that might have been the inexpensive price. But it was advertising itself as the world's smallest 360 spherical camera. And that was about 2.5 years ago. And I wanted to show you this, Josh. I don't know if you can see that. I think this one might classify as the world's smallest 360 camera.
Oh, it's definitely smaller.
Yeah. And I've had this one for, I want to say, a year, an Insta360. Oh, I don't even remember what it's called because I don't even use it anymore. An Insta360, I want to say Nano, but I think that's the iPhone version, and this is the Android version. So anyway, at the time that camera that you're holding was announced, that might have been the world's smallest, though. Even before that, there was this Ricoh Theta. This happens to be the Ricoh Theta S.
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, and maybe it's taller than the camera that you're holding, but I think I would consider this smaller in terms of volume. So,
yes, agreed.
So,
agreed. So maybe I'll talk a little about the physical attributes of it first.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Since you were talking about the volume, I think that it's beautiful. No doubt about it. And it's uniquely engineered. There's this 1/4-inch thread.
Okay, consumer grade mount.
Standard, which is good. And then
fits on any selfie pole. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And then, so that's good. It's a beautiful thing, but I would be afraid to use it unless I had this in the bottom and the selfie pole attached, because I don't know how you would hold it without covering it up.
I'll mention there is one, because I did see on the site how you could use it without a selfie pole, but I can't say that I would do this. Apparently there's a magnet in that camera. And so if you're a singer and you're a recording artist, and your boom comes out this way, you could just attach it to your steel boom.
I remember that myself now.
But I'd have to say, for $300, I don't think I would rely on a magnet hanging on the microphone while I'm perhaps holding it, trying to sing. So I don't think that was actually a practical solution.
Very true.
Yeah. So
that was good. I think I like the design of it well. Do you want me to talk a little bit about how I used it and then recap my opinion of it? How about that?
Yeah, that would be good. I would just add one thing, is the shape of it and those plastic lenses on top of the lenses is it does advertise that the camera can go underwater. And I don't recall how deep underwater, but that was part of the design. I can't say, in our community, the WGAN Around Network Forum community, nearly everyone is shooting real estate. I don't think there's many of us that are shooting real estate underwater. It's kind of like, okay, maybe you're a scuba diver and you'd find that interesting or helpful. Does the seal look like it actually might hold, or does it?
So I don't know if it's a hack that they added afterwards, or if it's how they had planned it all along, but it has this rubber, like basically condom type of thing that covers everything except for the lenses, and it's really tight, and you have to kind of like peel it over top of it.
So that's an attachment.
Yeah, it's basically a case for it that makes it probably waterproof and fairly shock-proof.
Okay,
would probably be my guess. But I do remember reading that is what you would use if you wanted it to be waterproof.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
all right, cool. So you mentioned to me you were going to Europe. I had this camera sitting on my desk, and I felt like it'd probably be months before I even had a moment to actually take it out of the box and try it. So I gave it to you shrink wrapped and said, have a good time. If you would, get back to us. Let's do a show and tell us the good, the bad, the ugly. And I was actually very excited that you had never shot. You're a professional photographer. You've shot, a bazillion weddings. You're an expert on lighting, all kinds of stuff. So I thought it'd actually be interesting to say, out of the box, could a professional photographer succeed in getting 360 photos and videos and maybe sharing live stream or something? Or is it just not as easy as it's advertised? So anyway, so what was your experience?
So my impression, cutting maybe to the chase, is that it is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, except for the fact that it's just terrible pain in the butt to try to connect it to your phone. I don't know.
Does it do yeah, right. You want to show some pictures? Does it connect by Wi-Fi, Bluetooth?
It connects over Wi-Fi, but most of the time I can't see the Wi-Fi,
the network.
It can't see my phone, and I can't see the device.
Yeah.
So my experience has been, it takes me at least 10 minutes of trying to push the button and hold the button, trying to get it to them to see each other before it will connect to my phone. And then you have to use the password, which is the exact same as the Wi-Fi connection hub name. So you definitely want to have that copied and pasted before, because just trust me, if you use this, you want to have everything ready to go for when that magic moment comes, when it actually sees it, and then you can get in there and get it done real quick. Otherwise, you'll be so frustrated.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest hassle.
Did you manage? I mean, you went to some beautiful places in Europe. Did you? What did you come back with?
I did. So I'll show you a video that I took, and I'm going to now switch over to share screen. Okay. And share this one. And this is a video that I took while I was...
Can you make that full screen for us?
Yes, absolutely. How's that?
Yeah, that'll work. Okay.
All
right. So this is what, hanging out the window of some train going someplace in Europe.
Yeah. So I had something called a friction arm, which is a device that you would use to attach lights maybe to something, or you can use it for a lot of different things. And I attached it to the side of the train. And the interesting thing was that the arm itself actually kind of went out of, it became invisible because it was in the seam of the video. So there's two cameras, one pointing forward, one pointing back.
Now, to be in fairness to the Luna, you had showed me this video in person, and it was silky smooth. It wasn't the sharpest video on the planet, but it was silky smooth. And looking at it over our internet connection, it feels a little bit some latency, etc. And that's not the camera; it's just our connection on WGAN-TV to Josh.
Well,
I thought it was pretty cool in terms of the video, is that you could see what was coming or see what you just saw, and rotate it around, and then we could do the selfie that we could see you in the window.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very cool because it was just interesting to be able to see yourself there in the situation.
Okay. So how hard was it for you to set it up to get that shot?
Well,
did you have the Wi-Fi challenges of trying to connect to?
It's hard to get it to connect to your phone. It's a deal breaker, in my opinion. And then the other part that I would say, as far as like my review of it, and I'd have to give it, wait for the next version because of the issues with the phone connection and the issues with the other thing is the resolution is too small, in my opinion, right now to be used for anything but just to show your friends, oh, isn't this kind of cool and isn't this kind of neat? And what I'm excited about is the potential there, actually, of what could be next with this technology. I did this trip on my own, and it's something that I wanted to document well for professional reasons, but there's only so much bandwidth that your brain has while you're doing these type of trips. And I love the idea of there being a high enough resolution for if I'm, meeting with people at a square in Europe, for example, for me to put this on the pole and not have to worry about pointing a camera to capture the best moments. If I just talk to people fairly close to this thing, and I could get even a 720p picture that was not fisheye, that was noticeably wide angle would be okay. I think that would be enough quality. Right now, that's not the case at all. The whole 360-degree world, I believe, is wrapped up in a 1080 picture, which means if you're looking at, 1/8 of a slice of that world, then you're looking at like 240 pixels resolution.
Yeah. So was this a 4K camera or wasn't even a 4K?
I do not believe so. No.
Yeah. And there are cameras that are even, I want to say 6 and 8K. This, um, show us your pictures. Did you get some 360 photos in Europe?
So this is the thing. I have not been able to connect through Wi-Fi to my phone. It just doesn't do it. So I was able to connect and download the video, but since I've been back, it has not wanted to connect. I've tried 2 or 3 times, and I don't know if maybe you're in a situation that you have to have 0 Wi-Fi interference. I'm not sure what the magic sauce was when I was able to do it and what it was when I wasn't. But for some reason, it just does not see it.
Yeah. I would say the 360 cameras that I've used over the last few years, and some of them I've had exactly the same problem that you've had. But the ones that I have now, generally you turn the camera on, you turn your phone on, you put them both on Wi-Fi, and it pops up, and you don't have any problems.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the processor power, because I know it's just been an issue on a lot of different things that I've had. And
yeah, I want to say the company that did this is out of Asia, and perhaps they didn't have the benefit of testing in the United States. And
that's a good point.
I'm just fishing there a little bit, but
that makes a lot of sense to me, though.
Yeah. So doesn't sound like I need to ask you on a scale of 1 to 100 what this camera came in for you. It doesn't. I'm not even sure it gets a couple points from you.
Yeah, as a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Why not? It was fun, and good for them for getting it going. And I mean, geez, creating a product. I mean, I would give them all the kudos in the world, and I'd love to see the next version.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, Josh, is I've tried to go onto their website, Luna, LUNA.camera, Luna.camera. And when you do, it takes you to the original Indiegogo page. So to me, it sounds like they fulfilled some or all of them, but maybe they're not going any further with it at this time. And I would say when the camera was announced, and I do feel like it was 2.5 years ago that I saw it and went, oh, $300, I'll go buy it. Well, no harm, no foul. But frankly, I think every 360 camera that I've ever bought on Kickstarter or Indiegogo has missed their ship date by about 2.5 years. That's literally, I've been, well, whoa, this sounds really exciting. I'll place an order. It says it's coming in December. Okay, now it's 2.5 years after the promise date, and it shows up, and then the camera is
already out of date.
It's way out of date. Yeah. So I'm going to guess this one's never even going to see a second, the Luna camera. Here's my prediction. The Luna camera will not see a second generation. It's just so far behind, and it's competing with large players like Ricoh. And there are a number of cameras. I think I've been through the Insta360 the Insta360 Nano, the Insta360 something else. I think that was the round one. The various Ricoh Thetas, a bubble cam, I can't even remember, the one with 32 lenses.
One that you threw up in the air?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, the Panono. So I had that one. I think I paid like $1,500 for that one. Maybe I paid $1,400, whatever it was. I bought it on, I want to say, I think it was on Indiegogo. It might have been Kickstarter. Again, even Panono, it took 2.5 years before it showed up. And then they had challenges where they were running out of money. So they essentially said for every 2 that we ship at full price off our website at price today, we'll ship 1 of people who ordered it. So you can imagine all the people who were early adopters like me were a little bit kind of like, you're sending the camera to the people who didn't invest in you 2.5 years ago. You're sending it to the people who are buying today for $1,500, something like that. But they literally wrote, they said, we don't have enough money, and if we don't try this, we won't be able to fulfill the orders. And I think I was just lucky because I sent the founder a note, said, hey, I'm going to Quebec City for the 2016 IVRPA. I'd love to bring it with me and take it for a test drive. And so I think I actually jumped the queue before they announced, because I was in Tokyo at the 2017 Google Street View Summit, and Panono was listed on the agenda, and a day or two before the agenda, before the conference, they came off the agenda, and within a day or two, there was an announcement that they had filed bankruptcy. Another company has bought them, but I'm not sure they actually fulfilled the original order. So anyway, it's a little bit of, for me, I went ahead, I played with the Panono maybe for a month. I wasn't particularly happy with it. Even, I thought it would be the Nirvana with 32 lenses, 108 megapixel, image that you could toss it up in the air. I don't know if that would be useful for anything at $1,500. I'm not sure I'm tossing it up in the air. But it had stitching problems. It just didn't work as kind of advertised, and the workflow was a little bit nutty. And I put it up on, I want to say, eBay, and I even wrote in the notes to say, this is not really a good camera. It's really meant for somebody who is developing a third-party application for the next generation of Panono. And so literally somebody, bought it and said, yeah, I don't care if it's crappy images. I just want to be able to develop for it. So I cashed out. I might've made a little bit of money on it.
Wow.
But it was, if I was reviewing it, it would probably sound a little bit like what you said, which was, well, it was a struggle setting up. It didn't quite work as advertised. And I don't recall if that one had Wi-Fi issues, connectivity issues. I've had some where it's like, well, it just can't be this hard. We're smart people. We're photographers. How hard could it be to set up a 360 camera to take a photo, a video, and do live stream?
So what it reminds me of is maybe my first, the iPhone first generation, when I would try to use it on the internet. It was like, okay, yeah, I'm on the internet, but it wasn't even 3G connection. The resolution was way low. So just the technology hadn't gotten to the point it needed to be to make it a really good experience. So it feels like that, but that also says to me in a year or two, and it has made me want to buy one of the, like the Theta has a new one that is 4K, I believe. That is $300 that I've heard good things about. It has made me think that I may like to try it. Or
raise your budget a little bit, because the Ricoh Theta 5, Ricoh Theta V, I want to say is closer to 400. You could buy the Ricoh Theta S probably for under 300 now.
Yeah, I would go with the V.
Yeah, you wouldn't be happy with the pictures. Even this week, I pulled out the Ricoh Theta to shoot some video to use for Google Street View, and it was like, okay, the video kind of looks a little bit grainier than I think it needs to be, or could be, or should be. Wish I had the Ricoh Theta 5. So
that's a lot of pixels. When you're talking about a full globe.
Yeah,
of pixels, that's a lot of processing. So I don't fault anybody for it taking a while for it to get it right. But man, when they do get it right. And the other interesting thing is with the Luna, for example, and I had it out on the pole outside of the train. It's a very strange experience to, in live real time, be able to see yourself out there and then pan away from yourself. And so there's the feeling of VR, right? Like when you put I'm in this place, okay, but to be live in the same, yeah, exactly. To be live in the same place and be able to see yourself, it was very strange, very meta, and cool, but cool though. And so it's like, oh, I like this. This is neat.
Yeah.
But I would say at this point in time, for what I was doing, which is trying to capture a trip on my own, for example, I would recommend a GoPro. I am using the one from Yi, Y-I,
Mm-hmm.
the name of it. It's the Yi Lite, and it's 1080 resolution at 60 frames a second, and it's, you know, GoPro style, very wide, not necessarily fisheye. And it basically does everything that this one does, connects directly to your phone, but it does it really well and snappy.
Yeah, but for our real estate photographers that need 360s and load them to a platform, that's not going to be a solution for what we're doing. For a hobby, going on a trip, you want to strap it to your chest,
Yeah.
you know,
and this is
capture it.
Definitely not for real estate, because the images are not high resolution at all.
Yeah.
They're the same as the actual video.
Yep.
Which surprised me very much.
Yeah, and I guess there was one other thing I was going to say about that camera. No, lost my train of thought. But if anyone wants to check out what we've been talking about, it's Luna, LUNA.camera. And I don't believe that this is a failure on the part of our newbie 360 photographer, because Josh is he is a photographer's photographer. He's a go-to kind of photographer, but he had never played with 360, and so I thought it, even though I knew I'd probably frustrate you some playing with it, I thought, well, I don't want to tell you anything about it, just how to go. And I think it was kind of a failure on a number of fronts, and I think that's probably why we don't see anything really on the Luna.camera website other than pointing back to the Indiegogo. Hope they prove us wrong, come out with something strong. But given that there have been so many innovative 360 cameras that have come out since, even a camera just like the Insta360 One, it's a $300 camera, photo, video, live stream, 4K, Google Street View certified.
From what you've heard, Dan, would you recommend that one instead of the Theta V?
I would say there's a very good video from a photographer that reviews 360 cameras, and so he lives, breathes, and sleeps 360 cameras. And I've watched his review of the 5 cameras that he looked at, and overall, his first choice recommendation was the Ricoh Theta V.
Yeah.
And he's doing hands-on deep dive testing and comparing the photos, the video, the live stream, the color quality, the saturation quality, the HDR,
they're the name brand that's been doing it the longest.
Yeah, they've I want to say Ricoh Theta V is up to maybe the 5th or 6th generation. I guess maybe the V stands for 5th generation, because I've had at least 3 Ricohs in my time playing with them. So I think the short answer, Josh, for anybody that was thinking about buying a 360 under $500 camera and you didn't want to spend a lot of time researching it, you just wanted to say, hey, what do the people in the biz have to say about it? It's probably at this point the Ricoh Theta 5. As much as I'd like to say it's the Insta360 One, which is super easy to use, that's a real plus for that camera. And I like that I can use my iPhone as the storage device, and there's lots of advantages for Insta360 One, which is about the size of my pinky. It's still, the resolution is just a little bit shy of going it's not, how do I say this? You notice that it's not as crisp and sharp as you would like it. And if you're doing real estate photography, and you're moving the camera around the space, you really want to have good imagery. And even the Ricoh Theta S, I've been very happy with it for HDR inside, shooting an apartment, a house, whatever, hotel room, whatever. I don't recall what the three others. I want to say I won't get them right, but in the We Get Around Network Forum, WeGetAroundNetworkForum.com. You can look for you can just put in the tag 360, come up with that video, watch a 12-minute review by I want to say Life in 360. And I mean, he even took into account price. And so while there might have been, one or two that were slightly better from a value proposition, if you were going to spend $800 versus $400, were you getting $300 or $400 more in value by picking that other camera? And right. It seemed like it was close, but from a value standpoint, for most of us, probably the Ricoh Theta 5 is probably the go-to choice today. Insta360 1 is certainly in that corner. The MySphere, MISPHERE, is right up there as well. I'll never pronounce it right. The company is XIOMI. Xiaomi. So that camera is right up there. Anyway, Josh, if you were just saying, Dan, I'm willing to go spend $400, but I don't want to spend a lot of time researching. Which one?
That would be the one.
Ricoh Theta V. Yeah. All right, Josh Johnson, thank you for joining us on WGAN-TV Live at 5.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. How about thumbs up? We'll get a little selfie here for our thumbnail on the video. Okay. Ready? Smile.
All right.
Good. So that's Josh. Thank you again for being on the show. So much appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Josh Johnson. Yeah. See you Monday. Josh Johnson. If you want to check him out on Instagram, the community with nearly 600,000 followers, JJ Community.
We'd love to have you.
JJ Community. Why don't you just take a moment and just tell us a little bit about what you're doing on that you've ended up with nearly 600,000 followers?
Sure. So I'm a guy that one of the most powerful experiences that's ever happened to me was kind of finding my creative self again after having a bit of a rough time starting a career in healthcare administration. So I have kind of dedicated myself to helping other people who maybe have felt like they've lost sight of that creative person that they once were, find that. Specifically, I do that through photography. And I was on Instagram the third or fourth day after it launched, and I could just tell that this was a really powerful creative platform. I think it has something to do with the simplicity and the immediate feedback from Instagram, especially when I first got on there. It was kind of like crack cocaine for me because it was so easy to create something that I liked and to share something I liked. So I said, how can I kind of post my flag here? And every day I started putting up a new tip about how to specifically, with your phone, take better pictures. And I was very fortunate that the guys that started Instagram, Kevin and Mikey, noticed what I was doing, and they put me on the suggested user list. And so I was on the suggested user list of Instagram for about 4 years, and that really took off as far as my following numbers go. And then also every day I just kept coming back and doing a new tip, and we turned that into basically a mini contest where, for example, today I've got somebody doing it for me, but I know last week we had the color was gray. My friend does a color every week, and we did a color of gray. Or maybe the theme, the contest may be looking down, and there'll be thousands of pictures that come in from all around the world of people that have taken that creative challenge, that cue, and either found a picture in their portfolio that they're especially excited about, or I really love it when people use it as a creative assignment for the day. And I'll give you little tips about how to use the angle of shooting down, or maybe backlight, something, whatever the theme is. And it just gives people a little bit of a structure to help find that creative spark again in their life, hopefully through photography. That's what I do. So.
Cool. So on Instagram, JJ
Community.
JJ Community. Oh, I'm sorry. On Instagram, JJ Community.
That's it.
That's it. All right, Josh, good to see you.
Take care.
And good to see you all. Thank you for tuning in to WGAN-TV Live at 5. If you missed any portion of today's program, we have recorded it, and we'll place it in the We Get Around Network Forum.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. So we're off of the forum, but we're still live on YouTube. Let's see if I can stop.